of times when you see it is mildew.
Yes.
You know, it's black mildew. Same stuff that grows in pools all the time. That's why we have chlorine in most of our pools, is because of the mold and everything else in it. Like that house, that windowsill and everything. We tested the whole house. It looked like mold. It looked really scary. Didn't have any mold in it.
So you had a mold company come test everything?
Sure did. For the fact that we thought that what looked like mold was mold, because there's pictures that are even nastier than that one of the window ledge. You should see it, like the kitchen sink. The whole cabinet was all rotted out, and the whole, actually, the deterioration from the drain line leaking so bad, the drywall was all rotted behind the kitchen cabinet, and the stucco outside was all rotted from it. So not only did it go through all the wood, it went through all the stucco and everything else too. That's how bad the sewer drain was, draining out the kitchen sink. But there was no mold. Matt.
This type of thing, the stuff that you can't see, is the exact reason why you always have a rehab buffer when you're doing this stuff, so that you always include a little bit of extra buffer because of these things that you're not going to be able to see. You know, the golf ball trick, like you said, is amazing. Some of these other tricks are awesome too, but you know, it's just that buffer has saved me so many times. I'm sure it's saved you a million times too, and it's imperative to have that built into your cost.
You know what? It's funny that Matt said that. I would love to say that extra buffer is saved my butt. It's actually my wife that puts that buffer on our numbers, because she's like, you're never on budget. You never get it on time. I'm always going to put these extra numbers. And I look at her, I was like, why did you offer this? That's like really low. And she's like, oh, because, you know, I put that extra buffer in there and I guarantee you're going to use it. I'm like, I'm supposed to be Superman. You know, it's like, no, my stuff. I said it was going to be this. There's nothing wrong. Yeah, right. Man. I wish my wife was here. No, I'm not. No, I've heard that exact same thing. 10%. Like if you think you're going to spend $40,000, throw another $4 grand on it. Are you going to lose an offer because you knocked another $4,000 off of it? It might have been the best thing you did. You know, maybe that buffer was the reason why you shouldn't have bought that property, because it might have cost you 10 grand of something that you didn't see, and hey, you never got it because of 4 grand. And all of a sudden you drive by it, and you know, a week or two after somebody started it, and you find out that it's like, oh, yeah, I wonder if they knew about that.
Mistake, you know?
Yeah, you know. Omar.
I've heard other people use 20%. That's kind of high.
We use 20%.
If you're getting, yeah, I mean, it really depends. The question was, he's heard 20%, sir, for the buffer to add on to your, you know, if you come up with a $40,000 estimate. Throw another 8 grand on top of it.
Another word they use is contingency.
Contingency, exactly.
It's contingency on your estimate.
Yeah.
If you got an old place with a lot of visible problems, you're going to want to use 20% probably.
Exactly.
If you got a pretty neat place and there just might be something, 10% probably enough.
Exactly. Good, great point.
So you got to adjust the risk to match the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it. Okay, you have a $400,000 remodel. You're going to put a 20% buffer on it or contingency? You might, depending on the condition of it. Just like he's saying, you know, maybe you need that much more. Because when you get into a bigger remodel like that or a rehab, a lot of things can go wrong real quick. I'll give you an example. We did a short sale on a house in Glendale that the how the building department overlooked this, I have no idea. They have a full set of plans. This is a $1.5 million house backed up into the hills, right in the middle of Glendale. Very beautiful house. The building department somehow forgot that there was a retaining wall that needed to be put around this property, because it's holding back about a 135-foot hill behind the house. Straight dirt coming down, right? So they forgot that here's this plan. It shows them digging back into the wall, into the dirt and the soil and everything, and hey, we're going to expand this and all this and that. Never put the retaining wall in. $235,000 to put a retaining wall in. 16-inch thick retaining wall, because it had to hold back that whole mountainside if it ever decided to move. You know, there's a contingency. I don't know how big a contingency you could have had. This slide, tools versus checkbook. How many here are actually do-it-yourself? That you actually get out there and you got the hammer and nails and stuff like that. So it's, you know, 5, 6, 8, 10 of you. Okay, awesome. So in that case, you're the tools. You have the tools. You get out there, you pound nails, you pull up things. I know I've seen Sati out there with a hammer and kicking things and everything else. John.
Well, one thing I realized about IRAs, you can't do that.
Exactly. You can't work, you have to hire out. When you're using, John's talking about if he bought some properties with his self-directed IRA money. And one of the stipulations, and David, you can confirm this, I think, is that you can't do work on it yourself. You have to hire out to do that because you cannot be, what is it, you can't personal gain or?
Well, it's considered a non-cash contribution to your IRA.
Oh, okay.
The only thing you're allowed to contribute to an IRA is capital. So if you do sweat equity, that's a non-cash contribution as part of the transaction.
Interesting. Wow. I should do more IRA than Howard. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are what? Okay. Thank you very much. Then the other one is checkbook. The reason I bring this up is because as a new investor, as an existing investor, whatever you want to think about, you have to make this decision. Do I have the resources, the knowledge, or do I even care to want to go get dirty and crawl in their houses and pull stuff out, and worry about asbestos and lead and all that kind of stuff, and breed mold and fungus and mildew and all this? Or do you want to have a checkbook that just says, you know what, hey, I found a great contractor, you know what, I've checked his resources, like 3 or 4 other investors I know have used him, and okay, how much was it? Here you go. And do it that way. So you want to think about that, because like it says, do you want to have time? Do you have the time, the skill, and the resources? Do you have that experience? Do you know how to do construction? You can wing it, yeah. I mean, most of us that started to get into rehab, yeah, I had a construction background. Didn't mean I knew how to do rehabbing, because I'll tell you in the next slide. And this is why I said I didn't know how to do rehabbing. The most important things that I like to point out to investors is you have to think of what you're doing as, and especially for me, this was a big learning experience, because I was a retail general contractor. I was used to doing, hey, my God, everything's got to be meticulous. It has to be perfect before I call the customer up. Well, rehabbing, it has to be perfect within the guidelines of what you're selling it. There's a big difference. Now, yes, if you're doing Beverly Hills mansions, guess what? They're going to want every little detail dealt with. But hey, if you're flipping a house in Carson or Santa Ana or something like that, maybe it's not the same thing. You know, you don't have to put in the drop-down LCD screen out of this bedroom ceiling. You know, you can. I guess it'll impress them when they come in and they go, "Oh, we'll give you another $100 for that." You know, but you have to think about it. It's not my house. It is your house as an investor. And you should watch every penny that goes out, trust me. But it's not your house as, oh, this is the creature feature that I want. You know, oh my God, I gotta have a window right here because I like the breeze on me. And I gotta have ceiling fans everywhere because I don't like leaving the windows open. I gotta have air conditioning. You know, no, you don't. You have to fit what you're doing to the neighborhood and the environment that you're selling your properties in. What's going on there? If none of the houses, a great example, you go up to Lancaster and Palmdale. There's a good portion of the houses that have air conditioners. There's a big portion of the houses that have swamp coolers. Do you need to put in air conditioning just because it's like, ooh, look, it's got air conditioning? I don't know, those swamp coolers are pretty damn efficient. You know, you put a newer one in, guess what? It's like $400. $4,000 to put air conditioning in a house. Big difference. I'd rather put the extra $3,600 in my pocket than spend it just because it's my vanity. And that's really what it gets into. It's your pride. That's what I had to get out of my own way. I kept doing things that were like, wow, it's got to have a laundry room. It's got to have this. It's got to have a full bathroom. No, it doesn't. It could be a 1-bedroom. It could be a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Just because I don't want to watch my wife brush her teeth in the morning and whatever. That's just me. You know? That's not what happens. So, my house profit out. You're not living in the property. This is to make money, isn't it? Is anybody doing this for charity? No. You can have a charitable organization doing it. Yes, that's down the road. But we're not doing this because what is most of the reason? Kristen, what's the reason you want to get into this? Or into real estate investing? To make money in what? You like working at your job?
I don't know.
right? How many people can relate? How many people can relate to Kirsten saying, no, I want to get out of what I'm doing? I heard, I don't know how many people. Come on, you're all lying if you're not raising your hands. Because even what you're doing right now, you're probably not happy at it. I know I'd rather be doing other things than rehabbing. But we do it because it's an ends to a means, right? But yeah, you're not living in the property. You're doing it because you want to make money. Look at the other properties in the area. That is so important right there. Because like I said, hey, if they're putting swamp coolers on everything, then put a swamp cooler on yours, if it has to. Put ceiling fans in. They can always, we sell properties, we don't do a squat of landscaping on it. Nothing. I got a bare dirt backyard. They don't care. My father-in-law is going to come over and it gives him something to do. Most common thing. I don't know what's father-in-laws and growing grass. I don't know what it is. 3 houses down a row. Yeah, my father-in-law, he'll come over, he'll do it all. Wow, sweet. Should get married more often. But, you know, so it just depends on what's going on in the area. Hey, if the houses are all yellow and you want to paint yours purple, okay, I mean, you'll be the odd man out of the box, but if everything else is yellow and they're all selling, then, hey, do as they do. You know, what is it? When you're in Rome, what? Do as the Romans do, right? Or when you're in Italy or whatever it is. Omar, I don't know what country it is. Is that what I was saying or what Matthew said? Oh, he was just saying that he was agreeing with the, you know, the fact that he had a customer that was a rental and she wanted to put, he was talking her into doing granite countertops and she wanted to do laminate countertops. He ended up having to drop the rent down because what's going on in the rental market in the area, everything else, bless you, is granite. Same thing. I said the same thing. I mean, hey, if it's carpet in the bedrooms and tile in all the kitchen and the bathrooms and the main areas, then put that in. You know, so we're like, oh, look, I got to put hardwood floors everywhere. If it's not going to justify and you're not going to make money from it because you're not going to get any more value, then why do it, sir?
You specialize in entry level, I think. You said
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you supply the appliances? You put appliances in there?
Used to. Used to until I got cleaned out twice.
Right.
Don't do it anymore. What I found was, as I was walking through IKEA and Best Buy and stuff like that, and I was like going, wow, that really looks like a Mac laptop. I was like, wait a minute, that's plastic. That's a fake. Guess what they have? Fake appliances too. Did I say that? Oh, wait. God, that was like a $50,000 bonus right there. My God. Go look online. You guys want to stage? I tell you, I kid you not. People, when you go to sell your house, staging, I don't know about some of the staging I see. I'm talking, you know, sofas and, I mean, holy smokes, it's like somebody lives in the place. Yeah, if I'm staging, if I'm selling $1 million house, yeah, these big open areas, like this could be somebody's living room in $1 million house. Yeah, it needs to have some furniture in it because it looks like a dance floor if it doesn't have something in it. But if I'm doing one of my houses, yeah, we do stage it a little bit here and there. But we're not going to, you know, we did put appliances in it and stuff like that. I don't know. It's really interesting. When people walk through a house, they have no vision. They cannot see themselves living anywhere. So you have to do whatever you can do within your budget. Don't go nuts. You don't have to put furniture in everywhere. But you got to put something in it. You've got to convey the idea of what does this feel like home. How many have heard agents baking cookies on open houses because of the smell, right? Burn candles because of the smell. It gets that sensation. This is the one point in a real estate investing too where you want to invoke emotion is when you're selling it, not when you're buying it, not when you're trying to do rehab. Get that stuff, leave your emotions and that stuff in the closet, you know? Diane.
One of the things that we do on the properties that we buy and flip is we stage the kitchens and the bathrooms. And the whole point is getting people into the property. When they're going through the MLS, they're looking for reasons not to go to your property. So if they see nice staging and very minimal in the bathrooms and kitchen, it draws them in. Mm-hmm. It makes much better photographs and it'll get people to the property. Just bare, it gives them a reason not to go.
Yep, exactly. Because when you're starting, David, go ahead.
There's also ways you can digitally or virtually stage a property. So if the whole point is just to get people inside, there's ways that you can do it digitally. It's a lot less expensive. On the MLS, it looks like it's furniture that at least gets them there. You don't have to physically have staging always at property. Maybe a couple rooms, but you could digitally stage the rest of the space.
College degrees? I mean, you can digitally, oh, wait.